Good morning, guys, from Edinburgh, Scotland, where today I'm going to be taking, well, first of all, I'm going to be taking a bus, the Airlink service, over to Edinburgh Airport, which takes about half an hour. And from there, I'm flying with Delta today on one of their 767-300s over to New York, JFK. And from there, I'm taking another flight up to Boston on an A220, I believe. So it's going to be a long day, isn't it? But come with me. I will see you on the bus, and then I'll see you on the plane. And then I'll see you on another plane. Cheers for now. Okay, so I was staying at the Premier Inn Hub in Rose Street, just on the corner here. And yeah, after leaving my toothbrush behind, which I didn't realise until I got to my Airbnb in Boston, I made my way towards South St David Street, which is where the Airlink 100 bus starts from. Now this hotel is really handy actually. It's comparatively cheap, and yeah, it only takes about 5 minutes maximum to walk to the bus stop. There were a couple of buses waiting to depart. I boarded the first one here, which I thought was very smart. Now I made my way up to the top deck, which was laid out in a 2-1 configuration, and I sat at the front. You get a very useful double monitor here which tells you where you are in relation to stops en route, and then there's also a departure board for the airport. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this actually. And there's free Wi-Fi that works, and twin USB ports at every seat. Now we set off down Princes Street following a tram which also goes to the airport. Now in terms of price, at the time of travelling this bus cost me £4.50 one way, and it takes about 30 minutes. Now the tram also takes about half an hour, but that costs £6.50. Now I've done both, and personally I take the bus every time now after this experience. Now if you do want to take the tram and you don't mind a 10-minute walk at the end of your journey, you can find out how to do it cheaper in this video I made here. And approaching the airport, we pass the Spitfire Memorial on the left, and the bus drops you right outside departures. And from there it's a quick walk into the main check-in hall, and as per usual I was travelling with cabin luggage only, so I didn't need to bother with any of that. And I headed up the escalator to departures and through security, which was fuss free and took barely 10 minutes today to get to Airside. Okay guys, Airside, Edinburgh Airport. You know what, I quite like this airport. It always seems to me like it's pretty relaxed. Anyway, yeah, gate's been called. Gate 15 today. Not many here at the moment. I just had my passport checked as well, which was fine. So yeah, the aircraft is just behind me. You can't really see it very well there. Yeah, it's behind the jet bridge. But yeah, an hour or so to go now, and we'll be boarding. So I'll see you in a bit. Our aircraft today would be N189DN, a 26-year-old 767-300. You can just about see it here, but yeah, apologies for the lack of a decent shot. If I zoom in a bit, you might be able to see it a little bit clearer. Boarding wise, I was travelling in economy and don't have any status with Delta or SkyTeam, so I was pretty much at the end of the line. Now at the gate, I was questioned about the purpose of my visit by some guy in plain clothes. I'm not sure who he was. I like to think maybe he was in the FBI for some reason. But anyway, no dramas. I was allowed past, which was reassuring. And then it was a quick walk down the jet bridge towards the aircraft. Hello. 47G.
Cross and make a right turn.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Morning. Thank you. Morning. Yeah, really nice, friendly greeting from all of the crew really, and yeah, boarding from the front, it gave me a good view of Delta's different classes of travel, from their business class product, Delta 1, which you can see here, through to Premium Select, Comfort Plus, and finally Economy Cheapskates class, which is where I was today. Anyway, thing is, this is a morning departure from Edinburgh, so yeah, it's a day flight with an estimated time to cross the Atlantic of about 7 hours 40 minutes. So, you know, if I'm money conscious and I don't need to sleep particularly, well, it's no hardship, is it, to travel cattle class for this kind of length of time? Well, see what you think anyway, and yeah, let me know in the comments below. Now I finally reached my seat near the back, which was 47G, window seat on the right in this 232 configuration. First impressions were, smart enough really, with a decent seat back IFE screen. We'll have a look at that in a bit, along with the seat itself. But for now it was, time to push back from stand and taxi out to the runway. And now let's listen to the sound of the Pratt & Whitney engines as we take off from runway 24 today, climbing straight out towards Glasgow and the west coast of Scotland. Right, so the IFE, well, it stopped working about 20 minutes into the flight and was intermittent for the duration really. That didn't affect everyone. Like the guy sitting next to me, his seemed to work fine. Anyway, they kept having to reset it, which was not ideal to be honest. Beneath the screen there was a fold down table that opens like so and moves backwards and forwards as shown here. And underneath the table is a pouch for putting your stuff in. Legroom isn't great, but then again I did cram quite a bit into the pouch to be fair, and that, it was getting in the way somewhat. Note here by the way that my screen switched itself back on. The seat in the Delta Blue that you would expect was comfortable enough with a cushion back and headrest as seen here. There is universal socket and USB charging between the seat backs, as well as a headphone socket and additional USB charging built into the IFE screen, which predictably had switched itself off again. Delta provide a pillow and blanket for all economy passengers on this day flight, which was handy later on in the cruise. Above the seat are individual air vents and reading lights as you would expect. There was Wi-Fi on board, which I couldn't use unless I paid $21.95 or was an eligible T-Mobile customer, whatever that was. I did use the complimentary messaging though, which I thought was a nice touch, and it worked well. Interestingly, I also got notifications from YouTube and Twitter, etc. About 45 minutes into the flight, the crew handed out water and cutlery, plastic, and then shortly after, food was served. I had the chicken and some kind of rice, with a pesto salad and salted caramel ice cream. A bit of a strange taste the meal was, to be honest, but it was plenty for me, and it was washed down with quite a generous plastic glass of wine. So on to the loo review, and there's not much to say here really, other than it was clean, it was well stocked with all the things you need from a hygiene point of view, and everything worked as expected. I did look at the baby changing facilities, but yeah, whilst there were one or two suitable candidates in the cabin by this point, there was unfortunately nothing available to swap them with. Anyway, back at my seat, coffee was served, and then with an hour or so to go, a further snack type meal was given out, which for me was an Asian chicken spring roll, yeah, chicken again, and a passion fruit mousse. It's better than nothing though. And this time we were given wooden cutlery, which is so much better than plastic, isn't it? Yeah, it was a bit grey outside as we reached the eastern seaboard of North America, but there wasn't too long to go now, and before I knew it, we were beginning our descent into New York's John F. Kennedy Airport. Today we would be landing on runway 31 left. It was quite a nice afternoon at JFK, and it wasn't long before we were at the gate. Exiting from the front, I was one of the last to disembark, but I wasn't in any rush. I'd left myself around a 3-hour layover time here, as I knew I still had TSA to negotiate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a bit of a walk to border security, but in the end it only took about half an hour to get through, and it was then a bus transfer over to Terminal 2 for my onward flight up to Boston. Right guys, JFK, yeah, what did you think of that? Delta, yeah, it was okay. The flight attendants were lovely. The in-flight entertainment was terrible. It just kept switching off. Well, it was random, like some people's worked, some people's didn't, which was not so great, was it? But yeah, overall it was alright. I think I might, next time I come to the States, I might try one of the other American carriers, maybe United, somebody like that. Anyway, yeah, I've just taken a bus, transfer to Terminal 2 Gate C61 for my connecting flight now on to Boston this afternoon. On an A220, I believe. So stick with me for that trip as well, and yeah, I'll see you when I get there. Cheers for now. Okay, a little bit delayed this one, coming down from Boston, but she finally made it to the gate for the return leg. N121DU. a 3.5-year-old Airbus A220-100. Now, boarding was uneventful and I was soon at my seat, 26A on the left-hand side of the 2-3 configuration. Now, as you can see here, all seats have seat back IFE, there's a pouch below the fold-down table, average legroom I would say in the cheap seats, and USB and conventional plug socket connectivity in front of you. Overall, yeah, a very smart interior. Seats were comfortable with the winged headrests, as you can see here. Well, I settled in ready for this short flight up to Boston as we pushed back from the stand. Now, above the seat we had the usual individual air vents and reading lights, but there was also illuminated Wi-Fi signage, which was neat, and I'm pleased to report that the IFE this time worked really well on this flight. I tried out the live TV functionality, which was good, but apart from this and the extensive library of films and other entertainment, there were some really smart options for the moving map and also this kind of HUD display, which makes you feel like you're flying the aircraft. Well, maybe a little bit. Anyway, we took off from runway 31L, banking left over the water before heading northeast towards our destination. Now, apart from this lovely sunset over New York, there wasn't really much to show you on this flight as darkness soon came. Now, I carried on playing with the IFE for a bit, as there wasn't really much to see outside the window either. And then we were soon beginning our descent into Boston Logan International, with a fairly uneventful landing, apart from the fact that just before we touched down, the guy sitting next to me decided to get out of his seat and wander off towards the toilet. And he was suitably scolded by the flight attendant. Have you ever seen this on a flight before? It was a first for me, I must say. The price I paid for this trip, well, difficult to say to be honest, as it was part of a return fare where I was coming back with Virgin in upper class from JFK. That video will be out soon, by the way. Shopping around though, I would say about £350 for economy both ways is probably about right at the moment, plus £4.50 for the bus, don't forget. I was one of the last off the aircraft again, but yeah, as this was just a normal domestic flight, it didn't take long before I was down the jet bridge and into the terminal. So I took a minute just to sit down and summarise what was a pretty long day. Okay guys, Boston Logan International Airport, and that is the end of my trip today. Started off on a bus in Edinburgh, 767 with Delta to JFK, New York. and then coming up here on the A220, which was a really nice plane, I thought. Another Delta flight. Yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Just as an aside, it randomly, with about 10 seconds to landing up here at Boston, the guy sitting next to me decided to get up and wander towards the back of the aircraft. God knows why. He subsequently got told off by the flight attendants. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of a fitting end to the day, really. It's certainly been an adventure. I hope you can join me on another one soon, and until next time, guys, as always, cheers for now.